too of like megD kind of has to see Marckiemoo as this like new top level threat, and you have to respect that, right? Because he has the resume and the placements to show for it. So let's see if you know, maybe megD can make something happen here against the arguable best player in North America, one of the best out there in Marckiemoo.
Yeah, and the interesting thing here is that megD is known primarily for his Qatar gameplay. Played a lot of Asuri in the past. Now we are getting the megD Lin Fei, perhaps inspired a bit by the consistent well placings that Richibu has been able to do with this character in the past. Qatars, I think, are good in singles again. People aren't playing it as much. We saw a little bit of it from some of the other regions yesterday, but I'm happy to see megD kind of giving the, you know, a good go with this legend, because I don't know what the megD canon has in store, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever seen it.
I'm really interested in what the weapon distribution will be on megD's side after this first game, because you pair Qatars and Cannon, and both of them are so heavily reliant on dodge reads, right? And as Marckiemoo will pick up the first stock with that recovery, I feel as though Marckiemoo is a player who is not that predictable in terms of his defensive counterplay, right? So it is going to be difficult for megD to get a pretty solid read on Marckiemoo, especially when you're getting mixed like that.
Yeah, I mean, immediately gets caught out of the dodge read and then taking a heaping ton of damage there. I mean, it's going to be rough here, because I don't know, like, this is the kind of the point in the bracket where I would look at and I'd be like, this is where megD gets sent down to elimination bracket. That's what I would think, you know, just looking at, you know, the bracket. I'm sure that's what the projected bracket says as well. That down sig from Marckiemoo also says the same thing. It's just really hard to break through the defense of Marckiemoo, but it's not even the defense for me, it's the offense. Like, when Marckiemoo gets his gloves on you, man, it's a really tough time.
Yeah, I think it goes both ways, right? Marckiemoo is a player who, like, you know, maybe you're not going to get a ton of confirms like that if you're megD, so, you know, you take what you can get for sure.
Yes.
But it's hard for you to really clock specific dodge patterns on Marckiemoo when he is usually overwhelming you with offense in certain positions.
Yes.
Because he's not dodging and you're not doing the offense yourself. So let's see what happens here. We are evened in stocks, but I think it's only a matter of time before megD loses out on this one. But Marckiemoo doesn't have a weapon in hand, so never mind. Okay, just lets it rock. Sure.
Because this is what I'm going to be paying attention to here, is how does a megD find his openings on Marckiemoo when he does. Right there, it's off of a whiffed end line from Marckiemoo, but he has no weapon, so it's like, okay, I could take a bit of damage, but that's a fine risk for Marckiemoo to take here. There we go, dash side light gives an opportunity, but right there, Marckiemoo does a backstep at a disadvantage there. Doesn't actually burn the dodge, but megD's still able to follow. megD may be getting an idea on how Marckiemoo's dodging now, but Marckiemoo...
Chase dodge up, oh, I love that. You gave yourself so many options if you're Marckiemoo again. One of the reasons why he has separated himself from the pack. But despite that, megD does pick up another stock. And the problems, or at least perceived problems, that I had with this weapon combination from megD really aren't that apparent, because he's just finding stocks with raw neutral wins.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about Qatars is that since they're so good at racking up damage, as long as you just keep getting those neutral wins, the KO will also come to you. You'll find that recovery in enough time. But first, you got to get that damage. I mean, Marckiemoo, once again, trailing ahead. megD needs to find an opening, gets a bit of an anti-air with that recovery, gets a tag with that nair as well, but gets caught. Oh, Marckiemoo reading a jump at disadvantage, though, doesn't come, but the delay, right? Just hits him with the sideline, says, all right, do the dodge, bro.
I think exactly what you said, man. As soon as he gets the mitts on you, you're like, oh gosh, I'm in danger. What am I supposed to do against this Mordex? And just like that, Marckiemoo steals away that first game.
Because I think part of it is also like a mental thing. Like, I think everyone's seen the Marckiemoo clips, right? They've seen what he could do to somebody. So if I'm a competitor going up against Marckiemoo, it's hard to eliminate that from my brain. So there's like an innate fear. It's like an aura buff that he gets just by being the player that he is.
For sure.
That before he's even hit you with any of the nasty stuff, you're already scared of it, right? And so it means that when you're kind of playing up against him, you kind of have to be like, well, I can do the same type of stuff to you. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself playing maybe a bit different of a game than you'd be playing against other players.
Yeah, and I think the thing I bring up of clashes in generations as well is, like, megD is obviously no stranger to playing whoever the best player in the world was for their period of time, but now it just happens to be Marckiemoo, at least for the North American region. So the confidence isn't necessarily an issue. I think it's just whatever the game plan is, there needs to be some adjustments to be made in megD. No resources left. Marckiemoo, of course, bites down hardest when he knows the sweat beads are here, and he gets the first strike.
That situation sucks in particular for megD, because the way it was looking looking, it was going to be a double knockout, right? But because Marckiemoo was able to get that gravity cancel N-sig, he was able to both KO megD and get the wall touch as a result of it. So that's just the worst possible scenario that could happen for megD there. And so now, playing from behind, has his cannon in hand, and seemingly playing pretty scared into the scythe, right? I mean, that N-light, I think, is a very big problem to deal with. It's such a large sweeping hitbox, makes it hard to approach from the ground, hard to approach from the sky, and megD's trying to bait that move out and get those punishes, but Marckiemoo's been very, very just diligent about his timing with it.
See, does burn the dodge to get out of that string, but Marckiemoo still gently in advantage state, at least just being able to shark that one out. Again, gets the push off. megD really struggling to land. Finally does find the opening with the two-piece there. Does disarm Marckiemoo as well, and there's no weapon in sight. Ooh. Gets it there.
Gets stuffed out by the side light there, and then Marckiemoo again with the down sig. Not enough to knock out. Forces the dodge with the weapon throw. Tries to go for a bit of a Hail Mary down a ground pound there, but it's not going to work. megD, though, still needs a stock. It's going to be a lot of just letting recovery rip. There it is. Finally finds one. And, you know, still has a lot of damage to make up for here. It's just really tough because going up against a player like Marckiemoo, when you miss... Oh, wait.
Hang on, there's nothing.
Oh, he didn't touch.
Yeah, he was on the slant of Demon Island, so he couldn't touch the wall, and he had no resources. Everyone saw the sweat beads. That's a really big swing for megD, assuming he can hang on to the stock for long enough.
Yeah, that's the tough part, right? I mean, really what he did was he bought himself a chance, right? He bought himself a chance as opposed to just losing outright here. Having things be even right now instead of Marckiemoo up a stock, definitely a bit of breathing room, but you can tell the entire time, like, he is struggling, right? Like, he is fighting for dear life, and, you know, he's keeping things close, but at no point have I really felt that megD's in the driver's seat. This string is the start of something that maybe
for sure
potentially do it, but Marckiemoo just comes back down and has this very aggressive movement that never makes you feel like you've ever gotten a lead because he's just in your face, beating you up like this. Immediately, that cider would have been the stock. Oh, megD must be shaking in his boots right now.
Definitely needs to discover another one of those early KO options if you're megD, and they're hard to come by with this weapon combination once again. So megD maybe trying to get the offstage, make some magic happen there, but Marckiemoo feels like he has all of the tempo on his side for sure.
Oh, but there we go. Hold on. That D-Light opening up an opportunity. Oh, he has no weapon, though, and he burned a couple jumps, but it doesn't matter. Marckiemoo's able to get him. megD's going to have to try to do this if he can. You see him throwing out that N-sig. It's a pretty good N-sig, though. Oh, but now Marckiemoo has a weapon. Oh, no punish. That could have been an N-sig punish.
Insane.
That could have been an N-sig punish. Oh, and that might be it. Oh, man, that's tough. That's tough. I think if there's any moment to let that N-sig fly, it's right there. Would it have knocked out? I think so. It's hard to say because that Linfei N-sig doesn't hit as hard as some of the other SIGs in the game do, but I mean, Marckiemoo had a lot of damage racked up, man.
Yeah, I mean, even whether it would have knocked out or not, I think just hitting it is just such a huge boon for megD, and you see it right here, like mere pixels. That's
you know
crazy.
What it is? It's because Marckiemoo does the N-sig, and then he fades in, and then megD has the thought, do I N-sig to the left or to the right? You know, and then that, because you don't want to do it and miss, but then if you're unsure about what side the person is on top of you, it's like, maybe I just don't press the button, I fish for something else, and unfortunately, he just didn't get that chance. So now megD on the verge of getting 3-0'd here. Huge start from Marckiemoo, untouched and already in the orange.
I've seen this movie before. Marckiemoo takes himself off stage, but has already made an entire cutscene out of megD in this first stock, and it is just still going. There are no quick time events for megD to be able to get out of it. It's first strike going over to Marckiemoo once again. That's why he's the best right now.
Yeah, it's tough. If I'm megD, right, like maybe at this point, you know, you only have so much time to adapt in a set, right? And so it's like, all right, the odds of me suddenly figuring out Marckiemoo over the course of this game and doing a reverse 3-0 seem pretty slim because based off the gameplay I've been looking at, it looks like megD's been somewhat lost the entire time, right? But where has he found success? He has found success in being able to get early stocks only one time, but he was able to do it against Marckiemoo, where part of me is like, maybe you just lean in to trying to shark Marckiemoo in the corners a little bit, and if there's anyone who's really good at that, it's going to be megD.
Yeah,
and you get those
I think the other thing,
stocks.
I totally agree with everything you're saying. I think the other thing that I like, even though the score count for this match is 2-0 reflected for Marckiemoo, is that megD hasn't swapped off of the Linfei, right? Like, I think a lot of players will fall into this. It's a trap for some people, and maybe it's helpful for others. Of you lose a game in a certain way, and then you're like, well, maybe I need to switch my legend, and then you don't really get meaningful data because you're switching and switching and switching and not learning about like why the matchup isn't working.
Man, everything's just going wrong for megD right now. Nothing's knocking out. That N6 should have connected. It didn't. That side air you think would be enough has to spend so much. Marckiemoo taking so much damage before losing a stock. And like, if you're megD right now, it just doesn't feel like an affordance you have. You're trying to be a little bit more efficient. Part of that is the Lin Fei, you know? Like, she just does not hit that hard. That's part of her design. She's someone that hits very fast, but as a result, she doesn't have that strong knockout power. But this cannon, megD's been leaning into it more and more in this game, and honestly, I respect it. I think he was kind of leaning on the guitars maybe a bit too heavily in the first games, and recognizing that hasn't been working. I think, you know, making the swap over to the cannon might be an answer that helps him out here.
Yeah, I agree. I think the fact that megD is playing the Lin Fei, which are, you know, 2 string weapons as well, and we're essentially seeing most of these stocks happen at pretty high damage ranges. Very nice to pick that one up. megD, first real meaningful lead as well, but let's see how long he hangs on to this stock. But I think, like, again, it's so quick, right, the flip around. But megD being on both of these string weapons and finding these stocks at pretty high damage means that he needs to get a string 2 or 3 times to get to that damage amount, and then just get, like, what, a guitar recovery to get the KO. It's pretty linearized in terms of his gameplay, and I think Marckiemoo is really clued into it.
And you can't get the hits in neutral. He's going for these dive bomb side lights, and Marckiemoo's just getting him out. The YOLO down air, not connecting, another side light out of disadvantage. Marckiemoo just waits. Like, megD just can't seem confident in knowing where Marckiemoo's going to be able to hit him. As a guitar player, yeah, you throw out an air, a couple of them are going to tag him, you know, but it's really hard to get a full conversion off of that. You just kind of use it as chip damage. Meanwhile, Marckiemoo's getting 2 to 3 hits every time. That's a huge punish opportunity for megD, though. Another opportunity.
Well, he's just swinging at the ground. megD is just whiff punishing every single landing. This is great. Nice weight as well, but just didn't go up there.
megD had Marckiemoo where he wanted him there, but despite all that, I mean, at least the damage is now roughly closer to even. Oh, you threw your weapon away, and you're going to have to spend a lot. I think Marcky gets it here. Oh, no way. He gives him another chance. Good break for megD here. Has to get down to the ground, though. And at this point, the scary part is Marckiemoo's not at risk of losing his stock anytime soon.
Yeah, he can play this so safe at the corner, too.
Okay, nice weight. Okay, N6 not going to be enough.
Didn't disarm either, which is massive.
Now it's scary. D-Light, N6 again. Thank you. Yes, megD hanging on by a thread there. And one thing I do love about that game is that is the only game where I felt like I was able to notice any sense of fear from Marckiemoo at all so far, right? Yeah. There was a moment there where megD was, you know, punishing him for doing these bad wake-up options, and then had him in the corner as well. Marckiemoo seemed so scared. I was like, megD, you're doing it, man. This is what you've been looking for
sure,
right? And then at the end of the day, gets the Lin Fei affordance here, where it's like, this is why this move is so good, right? Look how quick that is. Dodge is up. The moment megD sees that dodge up, he's like, it's time. I think Marckiemoo's thinking that the N6 is going to come earlier, because the move is so fast, you're not going to be able to react to it. You have to guess when megD's going to do it. And so for megD, it's in his best interest to just sit there and wait.
And I think the damage spread between these two was much closer now for megD. I think you had pointed out at the start of this game a lot more liberal use of the cannon as well, and because of the fact that megD really didn't show the cannon in the first couple of games, he got those affordances of being able to let those signatures rock, get those KOs, at least get one on the board over Marckiemoo.
Yeah, now at this point, I mean, megD, you know, taking quite a bit of damage on these guitars, should be at a point where he ends up getting disarmed fairly soon, and so he's gonna have to keep that in mind here. But I mean, I do love playing guitars in the gauntlets. I think it's one of the better matchups for the guitars, man. Ooh, nice little Wade, man, just to sneak around that one. The down sig, the perfect option. Oh, did he touch? He did touch, though, so Marky's going to be able to get back, but megD had the right options there. Just couldn't quite get the timing. Almost gets the stock with that recovery had he guessed right. Wow, Marckiemoo's evasive maneuvers here are absolutely insane. I do not know how he's dodging all these potential KO options from megD, but megD going to force him to the corner yet again.
Yeah, and I think this is an important point you brought up at the end of the last game, right, is the scramble situations from Marckiemoo look a little less crisp right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Towards the end of that last game, a lot of just landing aerials, a lot of landing normals to just try to, like, reverse the situation instead of just reset to neutral, and that's really where megD started to capitalize, and it's another first strike going over to megD now. See how much he can extend it by.
When he gets thrown down, and then gets pummeled in the corner, that's going to be the stock. But one thing I will say that megD has caught on to is that Marckiemoo has been placing hitboxes in anticipation of megD running towards him, right? And so a lot of what we're seeing megD do now is just wait like half a second, and then you'll see Marckiemoo effectively swing at a ghost, and then he takes that and has been running with it. But, you know, more often than not, Marckiemoo is winning most of these engagements, though, and so I think he's even recognizing, oh, the tempo shifting a little bit. I have to be able to match megD's tempo here, otherwise, you know, I'm going to be whiffing a lot, and so taking a little bit more time. But look, megD, if megD's able to control the pace, he's able to win the game. That's always been the case with megD. That's what made him so polarizing of a player when he first started showing up and getting those strong placements. Everyone remembers the megD pace, man.
Yeah, I think very few can forget, for sure. I think in other fighting games, too, we call them overshoots and undershoots, and I think Marckiemoo is doing a lot of undershooting right now, which is essentially inviting megD to just wait and whiff punish in a lot of these positions. If Marckiemoo starts to overshoot, that is, go a little bit further behind where megD was going to be, like it kind of worked out here, he's going to get bigger punishes and maybe a whole stock. It looks like he's going all the way out there for it, too.
Okay, and you're going to lose his stock for it, too. That was crazy conversion there from Marckiemoo. Had the opportunity to go for the recovery. I think he thought, no, it's not going to be enough, so he converts into the side air instead and then goes really deep off stage, burns all of his resources trying to get megD, but it's not going to be enough. But I respect the gall, right? Those are the kind of plays you have to be willing to go for to be number one. But megD able to get the turnaround, and I would love to see him get a meaningful lead here. Oh, unable to get that D-Light, but still tacking on good damage. I want to see him in orange before megD loses the stock. I don't know if...
way far down. megD can capitalize, but just flips it.
He's so slow on the punish. Dang, man. I think Marky kind of gave it to him right there, right? You know, you come down there with a Qatar down air, the moment he goes to touch the wall, you can really start cooking him off of that. But megD just a little bit too patient this time around, and Marckiemoo was able to get back to the stage and get the stock. But either way, megD does have a lead here. He might be able to make this go to a game 5. Oh, okay, waiting for a spot dodge there. Marky doesn't give it to him.
Okay, that time waited. That one was more of an anticipation of megD going for the whiff punish, and I like it. Marckiemoo takes it to the bank.
Yeah, really having to pick, when do I explode, and then when do I kind of reel back a little bit. That's the game, the tug of war these two are playing right now. megD trying to use these burst options to get in on a Marckiemoo, but trying to mix up the timing. Marckiemoo trying to play in anticipation while also throwing out his own burst options and responding to the movement of megD. So these guys, it's hard to see and understand in real time, but they're playing very meticulously right now.
Yeah, I think by and large, we're on last stock here, so let's see if Marckiemoo takes this one all the way. Ground pound trades, it's going to be... Oh my gosh, what a turn. You're going over to the other wall. megD knew it, but there wasn't enough movement to be able to get there in time.
Yeah, thank God Marckiemoo had a recovery there, because otherwise that would have been the stock. Oh, huge opportunity.
Disarm.
Oh, this is massive for megD. megD gets a cannon.
Wait, watch the N-Sig. Yeah, okay. Or just a sidelight. Now we just get to play the anti-air game like we saw in the previous game.
And you can down-sig here on the corner, too. Can't forget that. Nair's not going to be enough. But now you can start threatening N-Sig for sure. Spot dodge, and there it is.
That's insane. When megD gets to control the pace, megD does some magical things. And just like that, a reverse 3-0 is potentially on the horizon over Marckiemoo. Are you kidding?
Yeah, let me tell you right now, Marckiemoo, he's playing frazzled. You know, he's getting down to last stock. He's getting scared. He's being shook up because right here, we all know Lin Fei is going to be fishing for that N-Sig, right? And Marckiemoo knows it too. megD whiffs it. Marckiemoo was unarmed, but he tries to punish it with a down sig. Lin Fei jumps at the end of that. Everyone knows that. Even Marckiemoo knows that. He's sitting there being like, why would I do that? If anything, I should try to go for N-Sig or jump recovery or something. But he let megD have enough time to come down and punish him, and now we're going to game 5. That was still a situation that Marckiemoo could have won from, so the nerves are settling in.
Wow, this one, just unlike the Stingray Balloon Boy set that we saw earlier, I would certainly call this one an upset if megD is able to take this one in 5 over Marckiemoo. As we're kind of getting into the early damage thresholds of this game 5, we pointed out some of kind of the macro positioning from megD, which led to the success in those previous 2 games. I want to point out in particular, Marckiemoo's under. Oh my God, this might just be a whole stock though. Let's wait for the stock to happen first before we talk analytics here. But megD already with the first strike again. This has just been an unreal turn from this player.
Now, honestly, if I'm Marckiemoo, I'm scared, because there is nothing more scary than playing against megD with the lead. Yeah. He gets to fully control the pace. You have to run at him now. And megD's so good at winning from this position. Look at him. He's going to run to the other side, and he's going to chill for a little bit. He said, what are you going to do, Marckiemoo? What are you going to do? Marky, weapon throws is the safest neutral option he has, right? I need to do something to break out a defensive option from megD, but megD just looking at him from center stage saying, come to me, and then I will make sure you regret it. Right there, tagging him. Again, tagging him a second time. Marckiemoo getting a read on his defense. defensive options, 2 jumps, gets hit by a side air, but it's still so much to make up for.
Marckiemoo looks kind of confused, I'm not going to lie. And I think one of the things I wanted to point out for the viewers at home is look at the way megD, as you had pointed out just now, Flambeau, he's playing basically second to whatever Marckiemoo does. So when Marckiemoo jumps and takes to the skies, you see megD, feet are glued to the ground. I'm jumping when you jump, and I'm going to meet you in the sky. And it's working out really well, especially in the Qatar matchup into Marckiemoo. Marckiemoo will get the stock right there, kind of behind in terms of damage. Let's see how far megD can maybe take this stock.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's one of the good things about Qatar's too, is that like it has the frame data to be able to kind of play responsively like that, where it's like, oh, you're on the ground, I'm gonna do a quick grounded option. You're in the sky, I'm gonna do a quick aerial as well. But Marckiemoo, I mean, mostly bringing things back to even here. You know, you get one more winning interaction and the damage will be even, and that's exactly what Marckiemoo is looking for. He's trying to understand the tempo of the match here, right? If he's able to get the lead on megD, that means Marckiemoo is able to go ahead and establish control yet again. That's what he's looking for. He's being very meticulous with the way he finds his opening, using that end lane as a quick burst opposite. No, don't try to cross through me, bro. I know you're trying to do that. I'm gonna regain power in this match. megD's trying to stop that from happening. Yeah,
I was gonna say, with the weapon swap to Cannon, we won't see it right now. The macro kind of flips on its head as well. We saw megD playing really grounded, waiting for just a light attack on the ground to be able to get the party started. Now we're back to the I will try to react to you as best as I can, and Marckiemoo is just whiffing left, right, and center. megD slowly chipping away at this stock. The damage differential is basically the same between these two, but it feels like megD has control.
Yeah, no, the way I would put it is megD is prioritizing stage positioning. Marckiemoo is prioritizing just trying to hit megD. And that's why I think Marckiemoo is having such a time hitting megD, is because megD is forcing him into the corner and then waiting and winning by having more stage to retreat to. Marckiemoo is not respecting that enough. But you know what? His offense is so powerful that oftentimes it doesn't matter, because when he does get the hit, he's able to convert. We're back to an even game.
Yeah, sometimes it can just really clear up the blind spots, and I think megD is really trying his hardest to expose those defensive weaknesses that Marckiemoo has in this matchup. Marckiemoo might be starting to get back into his comfort of, I think I'm the better player, and I might be able to bring this one back. It's a dead heat between these two.
You know, this is as close as it could possibly be. Oh, he gets the dodge read there, though. Gets his 2 hits and then gets out. Tries to wait for megD to do something defensively. megD being very reserved with his defensive options. Opens up Marckiemoo. Perfectly well-timed dodge from Marky to answer back. These guys are scrapping here, but look, megD once again prioritizing stage positioning, right? Gonna go ahead recovery, bait the platform, come back to the center and base, but
tries to do a turnaround, though. It doesn't connect. That's a huge miss for megD. Hang on, now Marckiemoo gets his turnaround. That's a disarm off the recovery. Marckiemoo gets a slight weapon starve as well. This could just be a matter of time, but megD fights out of that? That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm a little bit scared for megD here, because Marckiemoo has read his dodge read twice now in the exact same position. And at this point,
he's a little bit too slow. There again, okay.
Oh my God, he was too quick. He was too quick. He had it. He had it. But, you know, when you're that close to victory, sometimes you just get a little bit, and this time he does it immediately
the dodges
again.
are coming. He's just going a little bit too fast, but just like that, it's kind of an uneventful way to take that last
I didn't think
stop.
that end light would be enough, but it was.
Dang, Marckiemoo closes that one out with just a single neutral win. Feels kind of weirdly, you know, poetic in the way that Marckiemoo kind of won in the same way megD clawed his way back into the set.
Yeah, no, that was a close game. Honestly, megD had this, I think. You know what I mean? Like,